Good morning. Just getting up on the farm here. Got out, got a little bit of work done already. Got the walkway shoveled. We got a little snow last night. Um, Today, Mikhail is off skiing, so I'm on my own. So I figured I'd shoot a little video about how we came to live here, what brought us here, and give you a little update on the barn. So here we've had a pretty dry winter so far. Been cloudy, but not a lot of snow. Usually we have a foot or two of snow on the ground right now. Michelle and the kids are both born and started their lives out in Vermont, and approximately now 14 years ago we decided to move to Maine to be close to some near friends. And about 4 years ago we decided it was time to make a jump and move back home to Vermont. And we had some we knew we were going to do it someday. We knew maybe when Michelle and I retired we'd move back, or once the kids were out of the house we'd move back. And so we had some very strict criteria to move back to Vermont. We wanted to find at least land greater than 25 acres. We really wanted to find a piece of property that had a barn and no house, so we could build our own house. We wanted an apple orchard. We wanted a pond. We wanted a sugar woods. We also wanted farmable land because we knew someday we wanted to start this farm. We had been growing our own food for many years, but we really wanted a place that we could farm and start a small farm, a local farm. And we also wanted to be in a really cool town. We wanted a town that had some stuff going on, had some good recreational activities and whatnot. So 4 years ago, around this time, right around January 20th or so, Michelle jumped on the internet and was just searching for Vermont properties, and this property popped up. And within 4 weeks we had put our house on the market. I had left my job there, found a new job here. We bought this land and decided to make the jump. In May of that year we started bringing this farm back to life. We moved in here in a camper and started building our house.
Fall down on your knees, hear the whisper through the trees. No one's come to save you. Let fade the little lies, the sentimental cries. Behold what nature gave you. All you see, every love and every dream.
So when we first walked onto this property, we were struck by the beauty and the potential that this property had. We walked up the driveway, across the field, and instantly knew that this was a place that we wanted to live and spend the rest of our lives here, that we were not going to ever sell this property, and that this property was looking for us and we were looking for it. So a little bit about this farm. This farm, the building behind me, the barn, we date to being built somewhere around the 1820 to 1860 range. We've had the historical folks of the state of Vermont help us out with that, and between the cut nails and the different boards and the way it's built, it was built around that time. Originally this farm had multiple barns. There was one across the road. This farm encompassed down the hill, up the road. It was a much bigger farm, and slowly over the years, as the owners have sold off parcels of it, it's now the only structure remaining. When we got here was the barn behind us and a small, nearly collapsed milk house that was just up on the hill there. So the first step in stabilizing the barn was obviously getting the water out, and we hauled out a lot of debris and rotting wood from the bottom of the barn. And luckily and thankfully we got a Vermont Barn Preservation Grant. Great program in the state of Vermont. Allowed us with a matching grant to rehab this barn in a year. What the grant allowed us to do was to redo the roof, redo the rafters, and get the barn level, get the foundation fixed, replace a lot of the rotting beams that were in the barn, and really stabilize the barn so over the next several years we can start to continue to tighten up the weather envelope on the barn. As you can see behind me, we've started replacing some of the siding, and we have a video on that. And we'll continue to replace the siding. My hope is next year I can get the rest of the siding replaced, and then this barn will be weather tight, keeping the water out of it. Water is probably the most damaging thing to these old historic barns, and the more you can keep them dry and the weather out, the better off and the longer they'll last. So with the renovations, you know, this barn was potentially going to collapse in the next 5 years. Now this barn can stand another 100 years, so people can continue to enjoy it as they drive by. And up the road. This is known as the barn on Sugarhouse Road, and people still know it. And we've had our neighbors stop and say thanks so much for preserving the barn, but I want to say thanks to my neighbors for allowing us to get one of those barn preservation grants, because without it this barn would no longer exist. Most likely, originally this farm was a sheep farm. The land was cleared long ago. In fact, most of Vermont was treeless, and they cleared the land for sheep farming. And then after the Civil War, when the demand for wool died, the agricultural transitioned into, you know, dairy and other types of farming. So originally, I imagine this barn started out as a sheep farm and was eventually a dairy farm with the barn across the road. The lower level of the barn is half underground. Is a walkout, and down there we store our tractor, we store our farm implements, we store some of the farming equipment, and then moving up a level, we have a storage space for our personal belongings. We have a small shop that we can heat in the wintertime, and then a big open area that we hope to use for farm events, dinners, get-togethers, discussions around farming. Unfortunately, COVID put the squash on that this year. But hopefully next summer we can get some more farm events here. 2 years ago we started the farm commercially, and we started out with a 5-member CSA. Last year we had a 20-member CSA, and this year we're also running a 20-member CSA. We also have a local farm stand in the bottom of the barn there, and we're looking to continue that this year. So if you're local and you want to sign up for a CSA, let us know. If you're not local and you're in Burke for the day and you need some vegetables to fuel up for a nice mountain bike ride, stop by and we'll fuel you up with some good maple syrup and some vegetables. Here at the farm we believe in a connection with the land and a connection with what we eat and how we move and how we manage and navigate the stressors in our lives, and the connection of those three. I also, besides farming and working off the farm, teach a class on mindfulness-based stress reduction, and our hopes here on the farm someday to help incorporate food, movement, and stress reduction for helping people improve their overall health. So more to come on that. Keep posted to our website. I hope to offer a class this summer. If you're local and you want to sign up, let me know. So here's the original barn, and the original farmhouse was right about here, right about where our garage is now. So we got to get a sense of what this place looked like 100 years ago. The house burned down about 60 years ago, but as we've been doing work around here, we've found old bone toothbrushes and various pottery and stuff buried out here. So that's where the house was. That's where the barn was, and you can see they would have looked up onto the orchard up there. And but now that's where our house is. So first structure we built here was the house, and we'll have a video on that. It's about a 700 square foot house, and for a family of 4, and very energy efficient. A little teaser for the video on the house: we only heat with 1/3 of a cord of wood a year. So we'll have more on the house and how we built that in a little while. What you got, Milo? Snowball? Get it. I guess it's self-entertainment. All right, so take a walk out in the field here now. You coming with, Milo? Come on. looking down from our house, you can see our sugar house down here. And then our chicken houses are over here, kind of next to the garage. Eventually these are going to get moved. I think this chicken house is going to become a blacksmith shop for Mikhail. That chicken house is going to house new chickens, and we're going to build some chicken tractors so we can easily move the chickens around the farmyard. So this is what we fell in love with when we bought the place. We have garden space, orchard, more cultivated land, and we walked out here through a couple feet of snow when we first got here and just looked out over this valley, over this landscape, and knew this was our home. Off in the distance there you can see some of our sugar woods, where all of our maple syrup goes from there down the hill and over to the sugar house. More on sugaring as the season comes up. We got a couple more months so before we start sugaring. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more on the farm. We got a little lay of the land today and a little history of the farm. We will be posting more videos. I think Mikhail's got some plan for tool use and sharpening and how to move in the woods. We got sugaring season coming up, which is the wake up time from this winter rest. We're busy planning at the farm. We got our seeds ordered. They're all in the house stored. We're doing greenhouse planning. Had a discussion last night on decreasing our plastic use in our CSA. That's a whole video on itself. So thanks for watching. Stay well, stay connected, and see you on the farm this summer maybe.
I work as a hand in San Saba, fences and windmills to mend. I've been out on a crew, eating tumbleweed stew, 3 weeks in the rain.